Hey everybody, Bruce from the Wine Vault coming to you it is October, right? It's October and we have some new flights. Today I want to talk about our red flight for the month. We've got some, one of the things we're about here at the Vault is we like wines that are a little distinctive, that, have a story, and these 5 wines all have a really interesting story, I think. And I love stories, so you're going to hear some of them. And I'm going to taste some of them. I wish you could too. Hopefully you'll get that opportunity. But let's not waste any more time. Let's drink some wine. Our first wine is from New Zealand. It's the Innocent Bystander Pinot Noir. And this has actually started on a flight when we first opened up. Of course, this is a new vintage of that wine, but it's always been really popular. I always remember when I see this wine, my wife came in and had quite a bit of this wine one night, and she's kind of famous around the Wine Vault for this wine. But the wine is actually produced in Central Otago, New Zealand. That's where the grapes are grown. The company, Innocent Bystander, is actually based in Australia, and they've just decided to kind of go anywhere in that area, and they do some Sauvignon Blanc in New Zealand, and then they do some other things in Australia. So really interesting. New Zealand, you think New Zealand and automatically you think Sauvignon Blanc. Well, this is a Pinot Noir, which I think is probably the thing that they're second best known for. Certainly their red that they're known for best. And everything I read says New Zealand's up and coming for Pinot Noir, just to watch out for. So this is one you should try. What I read is it's saying New Zealand is kind of like, the best of Burgundy and the best of California. It's kind of like somewhere in between. You just got to think, incredible growing area. It's the southernmost wine growing region in the world, I believe, where this is grown. And of course, it's surrounded by water, so there's always breezes, coming through. You've got the ocean influence everywhere. So, be that as it may, this is 100% Pinot Noir. It's got about 14% alcohol. I think I could nail this as Pinot Noir, just right off the bat. So, it certainly smells like Pinot. Pinot Noir, you got that cherry, a little bit of tannin. I'm not sure if there's any oak in this or not, but very nice. This is a wine to try, and again, keep your eye out for New Zealand Pinot Noirs, and please come in and try this. I like. Second wine, great story behind this one. This is the El Key Red Blend, crazy blend, Carmenere, Syrah, about equal parts of those two, and then about 10% Malbec in it. So this is from Chile, from the El Key Valley, which in doing some looking around, it's just really interesting to see this area. Chile being very narrow, you've got the Pacific Ocean, and then the Atacama Desert. This winery is kind of like at the southern end of the Atacama Desert, and then to the east it backs up right up against the Andes Mountains. And it's one of these transverse areas where the winds kind of come in off of the ocean and really cool things down at night. You get that diurnal temperature shift that they're always talking about, hot days and then cools off at night, so that it preserves the acidity of the grapes. Carmenere is what Chile is known for. Syrah, a great cool climate grape. And this guy is from a Dutch winemaker, spent some time in Washington State in Walla Walla, and has been down there growing grapes now. And he just sounds like he really zeroes in on what's going to work in that area, and it looks beautiful. I think I'm going to have to put this on my list of places to go. But you smell this, it has a bit of red fruits, and it's not real dark. So Carmenere wines from Chile, they often say have something called pyrazines, which basically amounts to you can get kind of like a green pepper thing going from it. And sometimes I find that to be unattractive. Syrah has a thing where, again, you might get some peppery notes, like black peppery notes, spicy notes. And I think this has a really nice combination of those two. I'm not sure what the Malbec adds to it. But that is nice. I have not tasted this a whole lot prior to now. I know it's been very popular with people when they come in, they get it on the flight and then they end up taking a bottle. So watch out for this one. I hope we can get some more of their wines. They do a Syrah, they do a Pinot Noir, they do a 100% Malbec, and so all of this fruit's estate grown. Just sounds like a really cool place. Let's go. Let's tell Andy to take us. From there, we're going to go to Portugal. And I don't know about you, but every time I talk to somebody, it seems like somebody's going to Portugal. I talked to a friend of mine, he's got two friends that are going to Portugal. Addie and Andy went to Portugal earlier this year. I went, but that was in 1980, and I didn't really drink wine at that point. But, it's a hot country, hot in the, it's really popular tourist destination. It's relatively inexpensive, I guess, as things go. It's just a beautiful, beautiful country. So Portugal, I think, the issue with Portugal, it's not really an issue, but they have really clung to doing indigenous grapes, grapes that only grow there, that they've been growing there for, 1,000 years. And so when you think Portugal, you don't think, oh, Cabernet, you don't think, oh, Tempranillo. What grape do you think about when you think about Portugal? Red grape. Obviously, port is made there in Portugal, and the grape that they use sometime for that is called Touriga Nacional. And that's what this is made of. Some, about 25, or mostly that, and about 25% again of Syrah. So they're not against international grape varieties, but they really cling to producing wines based on the grapes that are Portuguese. So I would probably say this is, a Bordeaux or a very, lighter style, New World Cabernet just off the nose. Portuguese wines are a great bargain. So this is really interesting. I would give it a shot. Again, I'm not getting a whole lot. Oh, okay. You do get a little bit, again, of that pepper from the Syrah, and I'm not that familiar, again, with Touriga Nacional, but again, this is what we're all about here at the Wine Ball, is trying some different things, and be the first one on your block to say, I had this Portuguese wine last night, so you can believe I'll be talking about it. So maybe the most interesting story, and a lot of you are familiar with this one, of all the wines that we have. Next wine, Kokomo. And yes, it is named after Kokomo, Indiana. And yes, the guy that produces this wine, his name is Eric Miller, and he graduated from Purdue University, I think from what I read, about 1999. So a lot of people are familiar with his wine just because Kokomo, and because it is a Purdue grad. He went out there in about 2004 and just with his degree was organizational development or something like that. So not in their wine program, but he went out there and just started from nothing, and he's really made a name for himself and gets really good scores on his wines. So probably best known for his Zinfandel, and this is 100% Zinfandel, although when Zinfandel grows, the old places, it's often mixed with other grapes. and this is a killer wine. Now, I'm an IU guy, but I'm going to have to say this is something that a Purdue grad has produced that I can get behind. So just, I've had this lots of times. It's real popular with a number of our regulars. You start getting that more of a cooked fruit kind of thing going. And again, Zinfandel has a spice to it, I think, that is just really unique and really smooth tannins. So, the tannins are there, but wow, that is nice. I hope you get to try this one. He also does, I did not know this, but found out in my research that he produces a wine called Boilermaker. He does a white wine, and this is in conjunction with Purdue, a white wine and a red wine, and I guess they sell out immediately as soon as they hit the stores. So you might be on the lookout for that if you're a Purdue person. So again, I'm an IU guy, but I'm married to Purdue, and what can I say? She's remarkable, and I will have to say that Eric has done a really good job with his wines. I don't know if anybody from IU ever produced a wine or not. Maybe I'll be the first. Cheers, like that. Final wine. One of my all-time favorites. We've had one of these before. It's Amarone from Italy. When I've talked about this before, I've said, this is definitely a wine that if you're going to get into Italian wines, if you're going to get into wines at all, Amarone is something you need to experience. And this is a good one. I really like this. It's lighter. Let's back up. So the whole story about Amarone is that it's produced in northeastern Italy, Veneto region. So it's not real warm. They, again, indigenous grapes, Rondinella, Cortese, and I can't remember. But this one is 100% Rondinella. So these are not like real big, they don't get really ripe, fruity, type of grapes. They do make wine out of that, but what they do with Amarone is they harvest the grapes in the fall. They throw them on racks and let them dry out over the winter. Kind of in the old way, it was like an open air thing, like a barn where they would put them on, things that breathe, like a mesh type thing. And they would dry out, and then they ferment the wine out of those dried grapes, which means that the grapes have shriveled up, they've raisinated somewhat, and it produces a much more powerful wine. So I'm not sure that's why they started to do this, but that's what they do, and they now do this in other regions as well. But Amarone is known for being very long lasting. They're expensive because when you dry grapes, you reduce you have to use a lot more grapes to make the wine, basically, is what happens. And again, you get this stewed fruit flavor that's just unusual with any other type of wine, I think. So, again, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but, like one of the most famous wines, certainly in Italy and in the world, I think Amarone. Put this on your list, please. You can try it on this flight and really get a good idea. Much more body, incredibly smooth. This is one of the best I've tasted. It doesn't have that, like as strong as of that stewed fruit, dried fruit thing. Sometimes it can taste like not that I ever did it, but my mom used to drink prune juice in the morning. This is a few years ago. And I always remember that smell, and that's what I could get from some Amarones, which is what they're supposed to smell like because they raisinate the grapes. This is a keeper. So please try that. So, 5 very interesting wines, all over the world, great stories, great taste, great smells. Please come in and give them a shot. Only until the end of this month. Of course, we'll have them available, but this way you can taste all 5. Thank you. Appreciate your listening. Keep drinking. I will talk to you later. Bye.